Hello everyone, I hope you can hear me now. And welcome to the result declaration ceremony of the preliminary level of Aryabhat Astronomy Quiz 2020-2021. This is the 24th successive year of this Aryabhat Astronomy Quiz, in which we saw a participation of 3,900 students, to be exact, 3,927 students from across 248 schools of Madhya Pradesh. For the press of button ceremony, we have with us Dr. Erika Hamden. Dr. Erika is an eminent astrophysicist with a special contribution in ultraviolet UV detection, spectroscopy, and galaxy evolution. She is an Assistant Professor of Astrophysics at University of Arizona, US. She is also a 2019 TED Fellow and has enlightened the world in various TED Talks and public fora. Dr. Erika did her graduation from Harvard College, Cambridge, and has completed her MA, MPhil, and PhD in astronomy from Columbia University, New York. She is also the recipient of Presidential Early Career Award for Scientists and Engineers 2019. Dr. Erika, on behalf of entire Aryabhat Foundation, I would like to welcome you to this online result declaration ceremony. We are delighted to have you here.
Thank you.
Before moving to the result declaration, I would like to request the Secretary of Aryabhat Foundation, Mr. Harshit Dukkal, to give an introduction about Aryabhat and the astronomy quiz. Mr. Dukkal.
Thanks, Vivian. Thanks, Dr. Erika, for taking the time on a weekend. Shreyas, can you put up the presentation so that we can just go through it? I'll try to keep it as short as possible, but still trying to give a sense of what Aryabhat has been doing since, like Vivian mentioned, we have been operating for the last 25 years, and it's been an exciting journey with a lot of learnings, a lot of passion, and a lot of good citizens and good students being generated through this mission. So, Shreyas, if we move to the next slide. So, essentially, Aryabhat was started as a mission to promote and popularize basic sciences, including astronomy, in the central part of India, which was filled with myths and superstitions, driving people and driving a lot of their actions. So how we thought of doing it is that we looked at children as good prospects for taking up astronomy as a career option, as well as a learning option as a hobby, and then understanding that where are the myths and superstitions, and then correcting them with the help of science. So this started in the year 1995 when actually we visited certain observatories, and we started understanding that there's so much more to learn for the students of Madhya Pradesh, and to take them up to a level where they can stand at an equal footing with the best of the brains in the world, and also look at giving them opportunities to be there. So, Shreyas, next slide. So with this mission, when we started, we didn't know that we'll be here for after 25 years, but some numbers obviously boost up our confidence. So over a lakh or 100,000 plus students and parents and lives have been touched through Aryabhat in the last 24 years of our operations, and we have done almost 200 plus shows, which would include shows with slides when there were no PowerPoints, like with the times when we used to take physical projectors and slides that were presented through see-through sheets, to now to something called a Scala, where we used to make a movie sort of presentation, to the modern day, PowerPoints and the likes of those. So we've come a long way, and technology has changed, and we have adapted through that. I remember going carrying a CPU because at that time there were floppies and the file sizes were big, so we could not carry those files in those in floppy disks. So we had to literally carry CPUs from one place to the other to transfer data. So from there to today's world, there has been a major shift, and we have used whatever resources we could gather at each point in time and made the most of those as we went along. This is a small slide capturing the journey of Aryabhat. Like I mentioned, Aryabhat was formed in 1995. Uh, uh, it was in the October of 1995 that there was the first solar eclipse where which was captured by the Aryabhat team from a place called Bhind in central India. And that is where we started the journey of astronomy for Aryabhat. And that picture to very recently was the background picture of Professor at IIA. So that was the genesis of the mission. The first astronomy quiz was conducted on 28th of February 1997, which happened to be Science Day. And with a strong participation, we were able to get a good participation. And we also, for the first time, took students to observatories. But what we realized very quickly was that this model wasn't scalable. So in the same year itself, online quiz or a quiz on a computer was developed, and that was then deployed at each of the schools in Madhya Pradesh, and that is how it became more scalable for us to capture more students. So from a strength of some hundreds, we quickly moved to capturing students to the tunes of 3,000, 5,000 students in a year. So 1997 happens to be a special year that way, that it was the only year where we saw two quizzes happening in the same calendar year, though it were for two different academic years. Like I said, that the aim of the mission was to give students opportunities to compete with the best brains in the world. So it did, and we had a lot of successes. In 1999, Mayank Jha, who was from the Aryabhat mission, won the first gold medal in International Astronomy Olympiad for India. And he did that for 3 consecutive years. So that was the first feather in the cap for Aryabhat. In 2000, student, which was me at that time, I was selected as a semi-finalist for NASA's Red Rover Goes to Mars mission, which was a mission planned for Mars, being driven by students at that time, and they were identifying students who could solve the problems of how to land the rover on the moon, and then what all would the rover be capturing. In 2010, recently again in the International Astronomy Olympiad, Chirag Modi was a student from Aryabhat who won a gold medal. So apart from this, there have been a lot of national competitions where Aryabhatians have proven their worth. These are just the top ones which come to mind, which are like on an international scale. So that is why those are highlighted. There are a lot of pictures ahead where we'll show how there have been interactions where students have interacted with eminent scientists of the country and spoken to them about very interesting topics. So for Aryabhat, there are a lot of activities that happen. Some of the programs have been captured here. The biggest one being the astronomy quiz, which we do on an annual basis, which has been going on since 1997, like I mentioned. So a 24-year run for the astronomy quiz, where we have year on year seen a lot of participation, a lot of love from students, parents, schools alike, has made Aryabhat Astronomy Quiz a phenomenon, if I can call it, for every calendar year or every academic year for students. We also do a lot of seminars and awareness sessions. We do these in school and in a lot of local local societies, and also in organizations like BHEL, which have a larger group of people can come in. We conduct telescope making workshops where students can come in, make telescopes, and then use them for their school or for their personal use, and so on and so forth. We conduct solar astronomy workshops where we do solar photography. We teach them how to capture black spots. We teach them how to do, understand how to capture solar eclipses, etc. The telescope-aided Skyview camps are essentially conducted every year for students who are selected in the astronomy quiz to train them on how to use a telescope, make a telescope, and also operate it at any given time. One of the key things about this activity that we do is essentially to cultivate a culture or a confidence in the students to be able to present themselves and present the telescopes to a large audience which may be elder to them. So students of class 6, 7th, 8th are essentially presenting telescopes or showing telescopes to students of class 12th or their teachers or even their parents. So that essentially boosts a lot of confidence. We do zero shadow day workshops, which we do in conjunction with a lot of other organizations like the Nehru Planetarium in Bangalore and Delhi, so that the observations then can be combined and used in more meaningful ways. And we also, like I mentioned, we also teach students to do solar astronomy. We also teach them how to view eclipses through telescopes and do astrophotography. Yeah. So for the Astro quiz, I'll just take 2 minutes to explain how it works. So there is a preliminary level quiz, which for the first year, like I said, was conducted on a pen and paper quiz, and soon after moved to a digital quiz, which was conducted in the schools through their computers or in a common computer center. This year, however, due to the changed environment all across because of the COVID-19 situation, we and schools not operating the way they were operating earlier, we had to do it on a website or on a web quiz, app based. So this time it was the first time that we did an app-based quiz, thanks to a dedicated team of engineers who were able to turn around the entire software in record time for us to be able to do it with limited glitches. So kudos to them from my end. Once we do the preliminary quiz, there are students who are selected, and these students are then given training camps, which are for them to learn practical astronomy, as well as a lot more detailed theory. So there are training camps that are conducted for them where they come in and they operate telescopes. They also operate solar equipment, and they're given study material to develop more detailed understanding of astronomy. And they get access to the Aryabhat community to ask questions and learn more, and satisfy their inquisitiveness or curiosities about anything related to astronomy. So this goes on for almost a period of 3 months, so from September till December, and these are typically every weekend that we conduct camps. And then at the end of 3 months, there is a very grueling secondary level where they are exposed to multiple level of examinations, including viva, including practical testing of how proficient they are with telescope, how much they know about telescope, and they also make a presentation on one of the topic related to astronomy, which is close to their heart. Post that, the very next day, we do a result declaration, and the prizes are not in the form of goodies, but they're essentially opportunities for them to grow themselves by visiting observatories, by interacting with eminent scientists to learn more about astronomy and to widen their horizon about basic sciences. So that is the model that we operate in. So for the first time, the 2020 quiz has happened online thanks to a lot of dedicated effort by the engineers in the Aryabhat team. There was a participation of almost 4,000 students across 250 schools of Madhya Pradesh. So it's a great achievement for an online quiz in Madhya Pradesh. And in the past, obviously, our students, like I mentioned, have added a lot of feathers to the cap of the nation. We have had gold medalists in International Astronomy Olympiad. We have been selected for Red Rover Goes to Mars. And we have also had participation in the International Astro Congress at a global level. So there has been a lot of effort that has given out fruits for Aryabhat and the students across. So essentially, all the students who are selected to the astronomy quiz get to visit the best of the observatories in the country, and we are also looking at expanding this maybe next year to some of the international observatories as well, for which we are in talks with certain observatories. Solar Observatory in Kodaikanal was the first observatory that was opened up for Aryabhatians, where in the year 1997, a group of students went there. The second was Aries Nainital, and the others also have opened up beyond that. So there is Venu Bapu Observatory in Kavalur. There is the Solar Observatory in Udaipur. There is ISRO, which is the Indian Space Research Organization, NASA equivalent of India, which is based out of Bangalore, and Devastal Nainital. So basically students are broken up into groups of 5, and these students then go ahead and visit these observatories during their vacation time in May and June. Yeah, so some of the names I missed was Ayuka and GMRT in Pune. Yeah, great. So these are some of the pictures of the meritorious students starting from 1997 onwards and going on. So yeah, so these are students visiting the observatories, talking to the scientists there, understanding what all kind of observations do they take, and what does it mean? How does it impact us? How does it impact the universe? These are pictures with Professor Yashpal, who was a great promoter for Aryabhat. I'm very sad that he's no more, but he is one of the eminent personalities in the world of science in India, and he was a great promoter of Aryabhat, and he loved interacting with the Aryabhat students. And these are activities where we Aryabhat teams have gone to various places, schools, societies, offices, etc., and done camps there. Aryabhat has been all over the news for the last 20-25 years. And this is how we do it. These are our assets. These are the equipment. These are the telescopes that we take with us. And if you can see, the important part here are two actually. One is that all of these are very transportable or easy to take, easy to carry to different places. That is by design, because we have to keep it mobile to go to different places, take people out and actually show them what the stars look like. And the second important point is a lot of these are actually made by students of Aryabhat. So so it's not completely like just plug and play. It is a lot of effort, a lot of heart has gone when they make it, and that is why they take care of it after that. So that, I think, was my time. Over to Divyam for the next bit.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Duggal, for the introduction about Aryabhat and the astronomy quiz. Now it's the time for the result declaration of the preliminary level of Aryabhat Astronomy Quiz. We will here take a very short break and we'll be back in a couple of seconds. Till then, stay with us. And after this short break, we will come back with the result declaration screen. A lot of students have been waiting for this moment and they were logged in for past few minutes. I can see a lot of comments and there were a lot of anticipation. So now here I would like to request on behalf of Aryabhat Foundation, Dr. Erika, you have the key. You may enter the key and declare the results. And here we go. We have the top 30 students who have qualified for the second level of Aryabhat Astronomy Quiz, the 24th edition here.
Congratulations. I want to congratulate in particular Kishav for coming in first merit from the Scindia School. Utkarsh Singh is coming second. Sufyan Arif is third. Utkrishta Singhoria is in fourth. Nitya Takra is in fifth. And we can continue scrolling down. Shikraj Singh has come in sixth. Devashish Dixit in seventh. Darya Garg in eighth. Shashwat Pandey in ninth. Advait Bhagwat in 10th. Samip Modi, 11th. Anuj Parmar is 12th. Bhavya Sangvi is 13th. Arjun Patil is 14th. Akshat Balakar is 15th. Niraj Singh is in 16th. Sumitra Joglakar is 17th. Dev Sathya is 18th. Aditya Tiwari is 19th. Ved Meshram is 20th. Abanit Bansal is 21st. Kiana Nema is 22nd. Medha Shrishti Aboju is 23rd. Mod Nazim Khan is 24th. Ritik Singh is 25th. Krishna Garg is 26th. Madhav Gupta is 27th. Athrav Tiwari is 28th. Shubh Saratkar is 29th. And Deepan Haridas is 30th. And all of the students who participated are to be congratulated for doing their best. And these top 30 students especially have done a really fantastic job.
Right. So here is the results, and we will declare and we will share these results on our social media platform, as well as these results will be available on our website as well. Now I would like to request Dr. Erika to address the students who have participated in this quiz and also students of astronomy from the Central India. Dr. Erika, over to you.
Thank you. So I wanted to talk to all of you today about my own experiences being a scientist and what that actually means to me and in my life. And my job and my title are Professor of Astrophysics, but really my true passion is my work building telescopes. And I've been working on some aspect of telescope building since 2008 when I started grad school. And you might be wondering, like, well, why build a telescope? And one easy answer is, the telescopes that you use in the foundation work, they give you this incredible view of the universe that you can't see any other way. And for the students who might go on to build their own telescopes, you might see how satisfying it is, how fun to put something together and to create something new in the world. But when I think about these big astronomical telescopes, like the ones in the pictures that we just saw all over India, those are big buildings, they're big structures. And when you're building something like that, really you do it because in some sense, there's no other way. That you have these questions about the universe, and the only way to answer them is through something new. And having that drive that, like, this question is so important that you're going to spend all of this money and all of this time and all of these, have all these people work on it. It has to be because you really believe in it. And in order to do that, you have to be fearless to a certain extent. You have to say, these really big questions are really important. The questions I want to answer are really big, and maybe in my whole career I won't really find an answer. I want to know, like, how does a star actually form, and how does a galaxy really form? And not just any one, but like, how did our galaxy form, and how did our star form with us as this little planet around it? We're so lucky that that happened, and I want to know how it happened. And so I build telescopes because some of these questions, you can't answer them in any other way with any existing telescopes. You have to make a new way. And new telescopes, and especially the new technology that we put on it, those things give you a new way to see the universe, a new perspective on some of these very old questions. And through those new views, you get new ways to answer those questions. But the only way that you actually get new telescopes or new technology, especially, is through mistakes and failures. And I gave a whole TED talk about failures because I think that's what being a scientist really is. It's about failing. It's coming up with a theory and then being able to prove it wrong. That's like the fundamental scientific method, is testing something and seeing if it fails. And for me in my life, I try something new almost every day. And in a lot of cases, it involves messing it up the first time. I've built instruments where the first time you put it together, it doesn't work. Sometimes it doesn't work the second time or even the third time. But if you keep going, eventually you get things to work together, and then you can actually start testing out those unknown questions. And that process of science, of pushing yourself to the edge of what's known, is really scary. And it's not comfortable because you're in a new realm where no one has ever tried this before. And I want to talk to all of you about an experience that I had when I was only a little bit older than I think a lot of you are right now, that made me feel capable of trying things and messing them up. And that was, so in my bio, you heard that I went to Harvard for undergrad. And Harvard is a wonderful university, and I had a great time there. But I actually first went to MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which is one of the best technology schools in the world. Maybe slightly easier to get into than the Indian Institute of Technology, but still very good. And I wanted to be an aerospace engineer, and I was so excited to go to MIT. I was very naive. I come from a really close family, and so college was a really difficult experience for me. I went to MIT, and I had a terrible time. I had like anxiety for the first time in my life. I was worried about, like, how am I going to do well? It felt like a lot of pressure. And I actually dropped out of MIT 3 months into the first semester. So I'd only been there for a few months, and I was just very unhappy, and I didn't want to keep going. And my parents they came and picked me up, and MIT took my name off of everything. And I spent the next year like a college dropout, and not the good kind of college dropout, like Bill Gates, where you go and like make a company. I was just like a regular college dropout. And I felt like a huge failure, because so much of my identity had been about academic success and not about what I liked and what I thought was important. And so I spent a year, I worked in a cafe, I took classes at the local university in my town, and I figured out what did I really love and what mattered to me. And I went back to college, and I went to Harvard, so I did fine. It felt like a failure, but it really was just a temporary pause. And when I went back to college, I knew that I was really valuable, not because of the work that I did or the grades that I got, but just because I was a person and I mattered because I existed. And that feeling gave me the freedom to keep pursuing science because I really loved it. And it was what I most wanted to do. And I didn't need anybody to tell me that I was important, because I knew that already. And, in movies and in television, scientists are usually these awkward people who work alone in their lab and they make discoveries, but they can't explain them. And in history, we learn about these famous geniuses. For astronomy, it's people like Hubble or Einstein or Raman or Chandrasekhar, these titans of science, and we hear about their accomplishments and how much insight they had. And I even think about them and think, well, how can I do what they did? But then if you look in more detail, you see that they didn't do it alone. They worked with others. They were always refining their theories and testing their ideas and checking. Even at the height of his scientific work, Einstein was always arguing with people. People didn't believe that relativity was true, and you have to be willing to go out on a limb and to say well, I think that this is what it is, and let's test it and find out. And really in that process, they messed things up. They tried again and again, and the key was that they didn't give up. And I want to say that all of you have potential to be scientists just like me. Maybe not in astronomy, or maybe astronomy because it's great, but in any field. And all that you need to do is to observe the world around you and ask questions about it, and ask why are things the way that they are, and how can I explain what I see around me? And so I want all of you to know that each of you is smart enough and capable enough. The only thing that you need to do is to try. And taking this quiz is the first step in trying. Even if you weren't in the top 30 people, you can try again. And when you mess up, you pick yourself up and you keep going. Because the only thing that distinguishes a scientist from a regular person is that when they mess up or they fail, they say, that's interesting. I want to figure out why. And then they keep going. So I hope that in all of your future endeavors, you keep asking questions about the world around you, and you appreciate the natural wonder that you can see every day when you're a scientist. And I'm so honored that you invited me to speak here. I think that this quiz is a wonderful thing that has been doing such good for so many people for so many years. And so I hope that all of you will continue in the same spirit. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Erika, for your enlightening words. Your personal experience was truly an inspiration for the students, and I hope in the coming years we have more scientists such as you in the astronomy world around us.
Thank you.
Now I would like to request the Secretary of Aryabhat Foundation, Mr. Harshit Duggal, to give a vote of thanks. Mr. Duggal.
Thank you, Dr. Erika. First of all, thank you for taking time, and as well as for the wonderful experience and the words of wisdom that you shared. I'm sure that will inspire all of us to, to do better as we go ahead and keep asking questions. Divyam, if I can request, the link to that TED Talk by Dr. Erika can be put as part of the, description. That would be great, so that everybody can actually look at it and people know why we are making telescopes and they have an answer to give. Along with this, I would like to thank all the people behind the scenes who have worked to make this quiz happen. Because of the current situation, it was really, really difficult, and everybody really came together. Alok, Shreyas, Afaq, Divyam, everybody, thanks a lot for taking time out from all that you were doing and, putting in that effort, staying wherever you are, keeping ourselves safe at the same time. I would like to thank all the schools who have helped us through the years in the journey, and also this year by participating. Parents who have encouraged their kids to participate in the quiz, and also most importantly the students who've taken the interest and taken time and taken the effort to participate in the quiz. And of course the quiz story doesn't end here. This is just the beginning. This is the declaration of the preliminary result. The grilling starts now. We look forward to working together with all of you. Please throw out questions. Please reach out to the Aryabhat team to find out, even if you're not selected, you can still contribute as a volunteer. You can come in and help us and learn in the process as well. So our doors are always open and have always been open. So thank you so much, everybody, for all the effort.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. And now I would like to request Shreyas to share the links of the TED Talk given by Dr. Erika. And we can also share these links over the YouTube comments.
Oh, the links will be added in the description.
All right, that's great. Perfect. So that's it from us, guys. All the best. Congratulations to all the winners, and we will be in touch. Thank you, everyone.